Well, have you been looking for a chance to put on your detective hat? Well, here you go. A new portion of tricky riddles to sharpen your mind.
Yeah.
Melissa met her guests who came to her birthday party. Catherine came before Bob, Aaron after Raynon. Bob arrived before Raynon, and Timothy came after Aaron. So, which guest arrived last? Timothy was the last one to come. Now let's say you have two jugs. One of them holds exactly 3 gallons of water and the other holds 5 gallons. With the help of just these two jugs and a fire hose, how can you measure out exactly 4 gallons of water? Fill the 5-gallon jug to the top. Then pour it into the 3-gallon jug until it's full. You now have 2 gallons of water remaining in the 5-gallon jug. Pour out the water from the 3-gallon jug and then pour the 2 gallons from the 5-gallon jug into the 3-gallon one. Finally, fill the 5-gallon jug to the top and pour it into the 3-gallon jug until it's full. There was only enough space left for 1 more gallon in the 3-gallon jug, so you now have exactly 4 gallons in the 5-gallon jug. Look at this image attentively and try to find a mistake. There's no river on the other side of the bridge. Where does it disappear? Now, look at these men very closely. Can you figure out which of them is a fake doctor? The doctor on the left may be wearing casual clothes, but he has his badge on, which probably means he was called to work urgently and didn't have time to change. He's also holding a stethoscope. The doctor in the middle is holding a spoon. But even though it looks suspicious, he has just given a child patient some cough syrup. You can also see a badge on his uniform. As for the man on the right, he's not a doctor. There's no badge on his uniform. And if you examine him more attentively, you'll notice the police uniform under his white coat. He's most likely a police officer undercover. Christy poured herself a full cup of tea and drank half of it. Then she filled the cup with milk. Then she drank half of the drink again. Then she refilled it with milk again and drank the rest of it. Can you figure out if Christy drank more tea or more milk? She drank the same amount of tea and milk. Look, Christy ended up drinking all her tea since the cup was eventually empty. Christy refilled the milk 2 times, and every time it was half a cup of milk, totally a full cup of milk. Deceptor, a famous magician, announced that he could throw a ping-pong ball in such a way that it would go a short distance, come to a complete stop, and go in the opposite direction. He also clarified that he wouldn't bounce the ball off of any object or tie anything to it. And indeed, he managed to perform the trick. How did he do it? He threw the ball straight up into the air. Can you name 4 days of the week that start with the letter T? These days are Tuesday, Thursday, today, and tomorrow. Now, listen up.
Yeah.
All statements are true except one. 3 days ago was not Friday. The day after tomorrow will be Saturday. Tomorrow is not Wednesday. In 5 days, it's a day off. Yesterday was not Saturday. So the question is, what day of the week is today? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday? It's Thursday. Let's see how we can figure it out. 3 days ago was not Friday. If this statement is true, then today is not Monday. The day after tomorrow will be Saturday. If it's true, then today is Thursday. Tomorrow is not Wednesday. Then today is not Tuesday. It's a day off in 5 days. If this statement was true, today would be Monday or Tuesday. But in this case, the statement contradicts the first and third ones. It must be false. Yesterday was not Saturday. It means that today is not Sunday. Based on all this, we can conclude that today is Thursday. There were 2 plastic jugs filled with water. Can you put all the water into one barrel without using any dividers and still tell which water comes from which jug? You can do it by freezing the water in one or both jugs and then cutting the plastic away, leaving only the ice. After that, you can put the chunks of ice into the barrel. This way, you'll be able to tell which water comes from which jug. A farmer in Florida owns a beautiful pear tree. He supplies fruit to a nearby grocery store. One day, the store owner calls the farmer to check how much fruit is available for him to buy. The farmer knows that the main trunk has 24 branches. Each branch has 12 boughs, and each bough has 6 twigs. Since each twig bears one piece of fruit, how many plums will the farmer be able to sell? Unfortunately, none. At least not from this tree. A pear tree doesn't produce plums. You have 5 jars with pills. Each pill weighs 10 grams, except for contaminated pills contained in one jar. There, each pill weighs 9 grams. You have a scale, but can you tell which jar has the contaminated pills after making just one measurement? To find the contaminated pills, you should follow the following steps. Take out 1 pill from jar number 1, 2 pills from jar number 2, 3 pills from jar number 3, 4 pills from jar number 4, and 5 pills from jar number 5. Put all these 15 pills on the scale. The correct weight should be 150 grams. But since one of the jars has contaminated pills, the weight will definitely be less than 150 grams. If the weight is 149 grams, then jar number 1 has the contaminated pills, because there is only one pill like that. If the weight is 148 grams, then the contaminated pills are in jar number 2. If the weight is 147 grams, the contaminated pills are in jar number 3, and so on. Many years ago, one guy was captured by an evil witch who kept him in her house. There was a cellar door in the house, and the witch warned the guy not to open it because he was not ready to see what was behind it. Can you guess what was on the other side of the door that the witch didn't want the guy to see? The guy was actually locked in the cellar, and on the other side of the door was the rest of the house and the outside world. The witch just didn't want the guy to escape. One day, a boss told his employees, "I can fight and beat any man who works here." A new employee, a tall ex-prize fighter, decided to challenge the boss. Interestingly, the boss won the bet, even though he didn't defeat the man. What did the boss do? Not to lose face, he fired the new employee on the spot. This way, when he defeated the boss, he wasn't working in the company anymore. Marty and Jill wanted to copy 3 60-minute tapes. They have 2 tape recorders that will dub the tapes for them, so they can do 2 at a time. It takes 30 minutes for each side to complete. Therefore, in 1 hour, 2 tapes will be completed, and in another hour, the third will be done. Jill says all 3 tapes can be finished in 90 minutes. Can you figure out how it is possible? Let's call the tapes 1, 2, and 3 with sides A and B. In the first 30 minutes, the guys will work with 1A and 2A. In the second 30 minutes, they will record 1B and 3A. Now, tape 1 is completed. Finally, in the last half hour, they will do tape 2B and 3B. All set? Here we go.
Yeah.
Twiggy's got her 2 piggies. Alex grooves with his 2 wolves. And Tony has a pony. They're all on the shore of a vast and dangerous river. They need to get across, and there's only one small raft nearby. But it's not as simple as it might seem. There are 5 rules the guys need to follow. Rule number 1. The raft can only carry 2 of them. Number 2. Only humans can row. Number 3. Piggies can't ride with Alex unless Twiggy's around. Number 4. Wolves can't ride with Twiggy without Alex. And finally, number 5. The pony can only ride with Tony. How can they all get across? First, they need Tony on board. He needs to take one of the wolves across. Rules do not ban doing it. When he comes back, Alex takes the second wolf and takes it across the river. Alex goes back alone and takes Twiggy. They go to the other shore, where Twiggy leaves Alex and goes back alone. She gives the raft to Tony and his pony, and they go to the other shore. On the other shore, Alex takes the raft and goes to pick up Twiggy. He picks her up, they go back, and Twiggy leaves Alex there. She goes back to take her pigs one by one. Finally, I thought this was never going to end. Oliver got lost on the road while he was driving, so he found the nearest town and decided to spend a night in a hotel. He went to the buffet. Oliver said he couldn't smell the food because his nose was blocked due to his allergy. Suddenly, the lights went off and everyone fell asleep. The next morning, Oliver had a terrible headache and he couldn't remember anything. Look at these 2 photos from before and after the lights went out. Can you guess what happened? Look, there are some balloons in the first photo and none in the second one. They must have been filled with sleeping gas. Someone wanted everyone asleep. One day, Mary came to work and realized that their office had been robbed. The night guard said he was patrolling when he suddenly heard suspicious noises. When he got there, he saw that the office door was wide open, and so was the safe. The night guard also said that he looked out of the window and noticed someone getting into the car, but the sun blinded him and he couldn't see who it was. Mary instantly went to one of the police officers and said that the guard was lying. Why?
Uh-oh.
Well, there's no sun at night, so it couldn't have blinded him. The night guard must have invented the whole story to cover the criminals. Or is he a criminal himself? Mark is in a trap. He's in a burning room, which the fire will destroy in a minute. The only window in the room is too high. There's nothing in the room to climb on. Mark had no ropes, ladders, or any other devices that could help him. Plus, the door wasn't installed in that room. What should he do to survive? Nobody helped Mark, but he still managed to get out totally unharmed. You see, the door wasn't installed, but there was a doorway. He just left the burning room through it. Tina and Timothy love adventures. This time, they decided to check out an ancient castle that belongs to a powerful witch. The witch can also turn into any object and copy anyone's appearance. In the castle, they used torches to light their way when all of a sudden their torches went out.
Oh no!
Tina got terribly scared, but then suddenly the light came on and she saw two husbands of hers in front of her. Can you tell who's her real husband? It's the man on the right. He has 5 fingers, like a real human. The man on the left has 4 fingers, so this must be the witch. An anonymous person called the police and told them that a notorious criminal had come back to the town. The next day, they called the police once again to report the screams they heard coming from an abandoned house. The police rushed there. They broke in and saw 3 tied-up men. They thought that one of them must have been the criminal. One of the officers said he knew exactly who the criminal was. Can you spot them? Look at the man on the left. Can you see a phone in his pocket? A criminal would never let any of the victims use the phone. Take him, officer. Miles is a successful businessman. One day, he posted a vacancy on a website. He was looking for a new assistant. The new assistant was supposed to speak Chinese and Spanish. Pete saw that ad and called his wife Mary. That position would be just perfect for her, as she spoke both those languages. Mary dialed the phone number from the ad immediately. In reality, Miles didn't need an assistant, but he still hired Mary. Why? Mary seems to be having an affair with Miles. Did you notice that Miles' number was saved in Mary's phone? Miles posted this vacancy on purpose to cover up their affair. 3 men were sitting around a table drinking coffee. They all look alike, but only 2 of them are brothers, and the third one just doesn't belong here because he's an alien. Who is it? It's the man sitting on the right. He's got 12 fingers. Yeah, the one sitting in the center has a weird ear shape, but look at the family portrait on the wall. His dad had the very same ears, too. Gabrielle is a shop assistant in a department store. At the moment, there are 3 people in the fitting room she's assisting. It's Jessica, the girl wearing a green dress, Sean, a man wearing a leather jacket and skinny jeans, and Alex, the man who's currently taking a larger pair of jeans that Gabrielle brought him. One of the clients is an alien. Gabrielle has to figure out who it is. It's Alex. Take a closer look at his feet. Only a reptile or an alien can have such feet. You find yourself trapped in a medieval castle, far away from civilization. Boy, are you on a bad vacation. You can't jump out of the window because it's too high above the ground. The only tree growing near the window doesn't look sturdy enough for you to climb down. However, there are 3 doors, one of which can lead you to freedom. But behind the first door, there's a fierce fire. The second door holds back hundreds of venomous snakes. And behind the third door, there's a pitch-dark maze, and you can only imagine what surprises are waiting for you there. Which door should you choose? The third, you'll just need to break off a tree branch, turn it into a torch by lighting it in the first room, and go through the maze. It won't be dark now. Kate was in her hotel room when someone knocked on the door. She opened the door and saw a stranger. He apologized and said that he thought it was his room. When he walked away, she instantly called hotel security. Why did Kate get suspicious? The stranger said he thought it was his room, but if it was really so, he wouldn't have knocked on the door. Robert is a manager at a large international company in London. His boss decided to send Robert on a business trip to New York to find new clients. So the company gave Robert a large sum of money to sponsor the trip. A week later, Robert FaceTimed his boss and said he was in New York, but unfortunately, he didn't manage to find new clients. The boss didn't believe him. Why? The wall clock in the boss's room shows the very same time Robert's wall clock does. But there's a time difference between London and New York, so Robert must be lying about the trip.
Hi, my favorite detective! I've got a new portion of tricky riddles for you to train your sharp mind. Let's start!
Yeah.
One summer night, Emily threw a big party. But in the morning, she discovered that someone had stolen all her jewelry and money.
Oh no!
The police have 3 suspects: Daniel, Emily's boyfriend, Lily, her best friend, and Hannah, the girl's sister. Daniel told the police that he'd been playing computer games with his friend all night long. Lily felt sick and went home in the middle of the night. She said she knew nothing about the theft when the police called her. And Hannah said that she had stayed at the party till 7 a.m. and then had taken a taxi home because nobody could give her a lift. It was dark and she couldn't see anything. Who was lying? Hannah. At 7 a.m. in the summer, it's already light outside. One day, a famous soccer coach went missing right from the changing rooms. The police had 3 suspects, and all of them were from his team. Brandon said that after the training, he'd stayed on the pitch to practice a bit more. He hadn't been to the changing room yet. Andrew swore that after the training, he had gone outside to meet with his girlfriend. And James said, "When I was leaving the changing room, the coach was still there." Who's behind the disappearance of the coach? It's Brandon. He said he hadn't been to the changing room yet. But look, he's wearing not his uniform, but his street clothes. Once, a mad professor kidnapped Zoe and held her in his house. Was he planning to experiment on her? There was no way the young woman could escape. But one day, the scientist got bored.
You'll have to make breakfast for me tomorrow. If I like it, I'll let you go. If not, no one will hear about you again.
In the morning, Zoe went to the kitchen and started cooking. But when she turned away from the stove, the scientist threw a whole box of salt into the pot. However, when Zoe served him breakfast, he realized he had to set the girl free. Can you figure out what Zoe cooked? The girl boiled eggs. A man on a motorbike crashed into the window of Mr. Ruby's store, grabbed several expensive watches, and drove away. When the police arrived, Mr. Ruby told them that he was almost sure it had been his nephew, Patrick. The officers went to visit the guy. Because of a heavy downpour, it took them 1 hour to get there. Patrick was at home, together with his friend. "Look at the weather. I haven't been outside since yesterday." Patrick's friend confirmed his words, but the police didn't believe their story and arrested Patrick. Why? The guy's helmet is hanging on his motorbike. If it had been there since the previous day, it would have been filled with rainwater by now. 4 friends went to a cafe together. 2 of them, Linda and Mike, ordered a large pot of blueberry tea. Kirsten took some lemonade, and Oscar opted for orange juice. Half an hour later, Linda and Mike lost consciousness and were rushed to a hospital. When the police analyzed the tea they had drunk, they found poison in it. The main suspects were, of course, Kirsten and Oscar. Why didn't they drink the tea? Kirsten said that she didn't like tea with berries, and Oscar explained that he was allergic to blackberries. Who is the culprit? It's Oscar. He said he was allergic to blackberries, but the tea his friends drank was with blueberries. David worked at a construction site. Once, someone attacked him, and the unconscious man was taken to a hospital. Police officers who arrived to investigate the case had 3 suspects who also worked at the construction site: Alex, Ryan, and John. Alex said, "I was putting all towels on the roof when the accident happened." Ryan confessed that he'd been sleeping under the tree, and John claimed that he'd been laying bricks at that time. Can you figure out who's lying? Alex was the one to hurt David. The building has no roof yet, so he couldn't be putting tiles up there. You've bought a cute little rabbit at a pet store. The animal can breed every 2 months, and every time it will deliver 5 babies. How many rabbits will you have in a year? You'll have just 1 rabbit. If you want to have little bunnies, you have to buy 2 rabbits. Look at these people attentively. Who is a mer person? Pay attention to every little detail. It's the guy on the right. Look, his hands are webbed. Allison won the main prize of $1 million on a game show. But when the shooting was over, it turned out that the host of the show had disappeared, together with the prize. The police managed to log into the computer in his office. They saw that the host had sent this message to his girlfriend. It looked like the host had told his girlfriend where he was going. The police went to the airport, but which flight was the host going to catch? Can you figure it out? Now let's see, the first 2 letters of Atlas are AT. If we take 3 letters from the word land, it'll leave us with LAN. And the 2 first letters of tattoo are TA. Together, these letters make up the word Atlanta. Hurry to the gate, officers! Jack got lost in the woods. Suddenly, he saw a castle. The man rushed there and was greeted by the owner of the castle.
You have to answer just 1 question. If you win, I'll show you the way out of the forest. But if you lose, you'll never leave my castle.
Jack agreed. The owner asked,
There are 4 mirrors on the wall. One of them reflects fire-spitting dragon Nirin. The second, beautiful mermaid Laura. In the 3rd mirror, you can see a terrifying vampire Sam. And in the 4th, unicorn David. You have to figure out which reflection isn't real, and fast!
The reflection of vampire Sam isn't real. Vampires can't be reflected in mirrors. A businessman arrived at his office after a long trip and discovered that some important documents had disappeared from his desk. He immediately called the police, and a detective arrived shortly after. After interviewing all the workers, he had a list with 3 suspects on it. They were Emma, the accountant, Sophia, the receptionist, and James, a sales manager. But each of these people claimed that they hadn't even been inside the businessman's office. Still, it didn't take long until the detective figured out who was lying. Can you do the same? The thief is James. Both women wear high heels in the office, but the footprints on the floor are obviously left by sneakers. You throw me when you need me and pick me up when you don't need me. Can you figure out what I am? Right you are. I'm an anchor. How can you increase 66 by 1.5 if you aren't allowed to make any mathematical operations? Hurry up and crack this riddle. Just turn 66 upside down. It was Mr. and Mrs. Smith's wedding anniversary, and Mrs. Smith was going to put on diamond earrings her husband had presented her for their wedding. But when she opened her jewelry box, she saw that the earrings weren't there. She called her daughters, Dora and Laura. "I've told you so many times not to touch my things. Who took my jewelry this time?" Dora exclaimed, "I haven't touched your jewelry box." Laura also denied taking her mom's stuff. "I don't even wear earrings." Can you figure out which girl is lying? It was Laura who stole the earrings. Her mom didn't specify which piece of jewelry was missing. Hey there! Today we'll be solving cases and mysteries to maintain safety and order. Are you ready to help? Then let's go!
Yeah.
Here's the first task. A group of cyborgs from a different planet arrived on Earth to study humans' behavior. The police are now tracking them down to keep an eye on everything, so they need to identify all the cyborgs, and they need your help to find a couple of cyborgs in disguise. We're in a cafe, where a group of old-school friends met for a reunion. Who is not really human? This lady right here, the one who's eating with a fork and a nail, this cyborg hasn't quite figured out how life on Earth works yet. Great job, but we have more. What about these guys? Do you see anyone suspicious? This guy right here has purple eyes, so my money is on him. Here's a photo one resident made at a local beach. Take a close look. Which individual isn't a real human being? This one right here. Electrical sparks are coming from him. Okay, this is it with our state. The police in other states and countries will deal with their parts. Now some more private issues.
Yeah.
Mr. McGraw is a single father of 3. Last month, he went on a business trip for a couple of days, and his sons stayed home alone. Old enough, but maybe not wise enough, because when Mr. Jones returned home, he found out that someone crashed their car.
Okay, boys, speak now. Who took the car?
But none of the boys admitted it. Tim said, "These 2 days I spent at home studying." Drew said, "I went to see some friends once, but I took the bus." John said,
I don't even like driving.
"Inspect the car and try to figure out which son is guilty." Look, there's a hoodie left in the car. This is the hoodie John was wearing the day Mr. McGraw left, so he must have caused the accident. This case isn't at all criminal, but someone still needs your help. In a local high school, prom is approaching, and everyone is busy looking for a date. Our main character right here found a note in his locker. Obviously from some fearless girl asking him out, but he can't read the message and doesn't even know who asked him out. Can you help him figure out what's written on the card? It's obviously a cipher, and gladly not the hardest one. Every word is just spelled backwards, so if you put the letters in the normal order, the note will say, "You belong with me, prom?" There's a name too. It's Juliet. Hopefully our guy will accept the invitation. One of the police stations received a call. A young girl, Allison, reported that her new purple bike, one she saved up for and bought herself, was stolen. Just 1 week after she bought it. The girl asked to help her, and one of the officers was up for the case. She did her research and narrowed it down to 3 suspects. Take a look at them and tell which person stole Allison's bike. It's this mean dude. His bike appears black, but he painted it over its real color. Look, here the paint has chipped a little bit, and you can see the original purple color of the bike. A local jewelry store was robbed. Unfortunately, the police couldn't trace the robber. 2 weeks later in the evening, a city detective, Este, received a call from a farm in the suburb saying that they found something. Este arrived at the farm. The farmer said, "I was working in the field and found this message in a bottle. It's a map. It's about that store robbery. Now I look back, I remember that I saw someone in my field 2 weeks ago. It was a full moon and I saw a silhouette, but I assumed it was an animal." Este arrested the farmer for further investigation. Why? The story looked legit in the beginning, but then he mentioned the full moon. As you can see, it's a full moon now, so it couldn't be the case 2 weeks ago. That's the moment Este knew that the farmer was making something up. A young aspiring actress went missing on her camping trip. She went to the woods all by herself to prepare for her upcoming role. The first people who saw her, 1 week after she left, were police officers in a police department, where she arrived to report her kidnapping. "I went to prepare for a role and had all the necessary survival equipment. At first, it was all new romantics, but on the 3rd night, I woke up tied up in the dark. It was a man, but I didn't see him. It was dark the whole time. It took me 4 days before I managed to escape. As soon as I was out of the woods, I ran here, to the nearest police department. You need to find him." The police officer didn't believe her. Why not?
Uh-oh.
The actress says she's just out of the woods, but look at her. She's dressed in style. Her hair looks amazing. That's not what stranded kidnapped people look like, and the detective didn't believe her. A rich young lady was having a party in a VIP club on New Year's Day. Over 200 people were invited. In the middle of the party, the hostess's lover noticed that her diamond earrings went missing.
Oh no!
The police arrived to investigate this delicate case and narrowed it down to 3 suspects. Abigail said, "I'd never steal anything." Stephen said, "The earrings are gorgeous. Everyone noticed them, but stealing..." Cornelia said, "You need to calm down. I am rich." Who's your prime suspect? Look at Cornelia's purse. It's supposed to be an expensive Hermes purse, but the logo is wrong. So, it's a cheap fake. And there's still a tag on her dress. which isn't really rich. She's just playing along to fit in. Someone robbed a bank in a city, and Detective Este was leading the investigation. It was known that 2 people worked on it, but only one of them was caught, Clyde. Clyde refused to name his partner, so the police had to continue their investigation. After months, they had 3 main suspects, Bonnie, Ivy, and Dorothea. Can you figure out who the other criminal is? It's Bonnie. Look, both Bonnie and Clyde have the same snake tattoo on their wrist, so they must be in the same gang. Now let's take a break and train your eyes a little bit. Long story short, Betty is getting ready for a concert and needs your help finding some stuff in her closet. She's looking for a dress, a cardigan, and a red scarf. Here are the exact pictures to help you find the right item. Can you locate them all? Here's the scarf, that's the dress, and look, the cardigan is right here. Good job! Okay, the second and the last item hunt. This is Betty's bedroom. Can you locate a pair of cowboy boots, heart-shaped sunglasses, and red lipstick? Here they are. Did you find them all? Okay, the last one for today. It was a rainy midnight, and Scarlett was studying late in her college library since the hardest exam of the term was 2 days away. At some point, she left to go to the bathroom and grab a snack from a vending machine. When she returned, she noticed that some of her notes went missing.
Oh no!
Apart from the librarian, there were just 3 more people in the library at that hour, so she asked them about the notes. The first student said, "I don't steal, I worry about karma." The second student said, "I went for a walk outside to clear up my head." The third one said, "I was studying, I don't know anything." Who do you think knows something about Scarlett's notes? It's the second student. He said he took a walk outside, but it was raining. If he really did that, he'd be all wet, but he's not. Jessica arrives at an abandoned town to film a documentary. Can you count the number of vampires in this field? Nine. Jessica approaches the local mansion. Can you count the vampires around this place? Zero. We only showed you 7 ghosts. Jessica enters the mansion and meets Albus. His age today is 3 times what it will be in 3 years from now, minus 3 times what his age was 3 years ago. How old is Albus? Let's say that his current age is X. Then the following equation will help to figure out the answer. So, Albus is only 18. Albus hosts a party and invites Jessica. The party goes well, and Jessica makes a lot of interesting videos. But suddenly, the lights turn off for 20 seconds. When the power is back again, Jessica sees that someone has stolen her expensive video camera. Albus questions 3 suspects. Casimir says, "I was eating when the lights turned off. Luckily, I managed to grab the last strawberry cupcake at this party." Morgana says, I didn't touch her gadgets. I was dancing with Bastian when the lights turned off. Bastian says, I only came to this party to see Morgana. I didn't look at other women or their things. Who's lying? Casimir. There's a bunch of strawberry cupcakes on the table, so he didn't grab the last one. Jessica checks her phone and sees something really odd. Can you spot a mistake? Wi-Fi and airplane mode can't be active at the same time. Angelina, Karen, Margot, and Sandra have a musical jazz band. They arrive at the party to perform at a concert. But just before the beginning, everyone realizes that Karen had disappeared. Albus finds her locked up in the basement of his mansion. It was dark, so I didn't notice who locked me in. Can you guess who did that? Angelina. Her outfit was okay when they arrived, but she tore off the sequins from the dress because she got caught on the iron door when she locked Karen. Albus shows Jessica his home office and offers a game.
If you can manage to open my safe, I'll give you all the money I'm hiding inside.
Can you help Jessica figure out the code? Take a look at the dice in these two paintings. It's a clue. The code is 6324. Albus points at these two women and tells Jessica, "Meet my wife, Nina." Can you guess which lady is Nina? His wife is the maid. She's wearing a ring while the red-haired lady isn't. Jessica arrives back at her office, but she can't unlock the corporate computer. Someone changed the 10-letter password and left this clue. Can you figure out the new code? The clue is a rebus, so the password is accelerate. Jessica meets 3 guys online. Later, she visits their places to show how they live. Which guys should Jessica start dating? Magnus has wedding portraits all over the room, so he's married. And Leo seems to be a criminal, so she should choose Nick. Early in the morning, Jessica receives a call from her coworker, Tyler. "Jess, please come as soon as possible. I've just arrived at work. Someone robbed us. It's a huge mess. They even trashed the furniture." Jessica comes to the office and studies the crime scene. Tyler says, "Look, they stole all the documents and expensive video cameras from this locker. But I've got the only key. That means the robber broke the lock. I bet it was one of your new employees, Jill and Dan. I think they work for another company undercover. What do you think?" Jessica replies, "I doubt it. You'd better tell me why you're trying to frame those guys." Why did Jessica think that Tyler is lying? The locker was locked when she arrived. Tyler has the only key. If Jill or Dan had broken the locker, they wouldn't be able to lock it back up. Jessica was invited to an elite billiard room. She finds the entrance, but the door is locked. She needs to enter a 5-digit code. Can you help her figure out the password? Take a look at the poster on the door. It shows 4 numbered billiard balls organized in a row. These numbers are the password: 8, 15, 3, 4. Jessica is watching the news. A mysterious thief keeps on robbing people in Paris. He sneaks into hotels and steals jewelry and cash from tourists. Oh no, I'm going on a business trip to Paris tomorrow. I should be careful. The next day, Jessica lands in Paris. She arrives 3 hours before the meeting and decides to check in first. She arrives at her hotel and meets a lonely manager in the lobby. Jessica says, "Room number 505, please." "Of course, let me show you in, miss." Jessica immediately realizes that this guy is the thief from the news. How did she guess? It's a 3-story hotel. There can't be a room 505 in the building. Jessica met Francois online, and today they're finally meeting offline. They go out on a date in a cute Parisian restaurant. Everything's going great. Francois is a smart and handsome guy with a good sense of humor. The waiter brings the desserts. Suddenly, Jessica jumps up and runs away from the restaurant. Why did she run away? Jessica saw Francois's face in the news. He's a runaway criminal. Jessica enters the local gift shop. The owner complains, "Someone stole the goods from my shop. About 10 items disappear from the shelves every week. The staff members have no idea who the thief is." Jessica offers the shop owner to investigate this case. She watches the CCTV footage and identifies who's guilty right away. What about you? Can you spot the thief? It's this lady. She put the stolen goods in her bag. Jessica goes to the local haunted house to film a documentary. She takes 3 friends with her, Louis, Madeline, and Pierre. No one ever dared to enter this house because of creepy rumors. But the guys decided to check it out and see for themselves. They enter the living room and click some Polaroids. They take a good look at the images, freak out, and run away from the mansion. Only 4 people walked inside the mansion. All 4 are standing in this picture. If they're here, who took this shot? A ghost? Jessica finds a puppy on the street and brings it to the nearest vet clinic. The puppy only had a collar with its name, but no information about its owner. After a while, 3 people arrive at the clinic. Each begins to insist that he's the only owner of this puppy. The doctor calls the police and they interview each of them. Clark says,
I was so scared. I called the animal shelters in this city, but they didn't know where Fluffy was.
Oliver says, "I was walking the dog in the park. I turned my back for just a minute and he was gone. I have no idea why he ran away."
And Sam says, "Honey, I bought a new bone for you. Come over here." Who's the real owner of this puppy? Take a look at the puppy's collar. Its name is Toby, but Clark called him Fluffy. And Sam is trying to lure the puppy with a bone. So the real owner is Oliver. Jessica is visiting a speed dating event. She talks to 3 guys. Each tells her a couple of facts about himself. Pierre says, "I'm an artist. I've just signed a contract to paint a wall in the local co-working space. I've never been in a serious relationship, but now I'd like to find a muse and settle down with her." Jacques says, "I'm a writer. I used to be married, but she moved abroad. And now my work is my only girlfriend." And Glenn says, "I run my own restaurant. I'd like to find a soulmate to cook delicious meals for her every day." Who should Jessica choose? Pierre clearly wore a wedding ring. There's a tan line on his ring finger, so he's a liar. Take a closer look at Jacques. His nails are too sharp and his legs are very hairy. It's a full moon, so he's probably a werewolf. It's not safe to date a beast, so Jessica should choose Glenn and enjoy his cuisine.
Hey there! Let's begin with a couple of easy riddles to kickstart your brain.
Yeah.
Two Danes are walking around Copenhagen. One Dane is the father of the other Dane's son. How are the two Danes related? They must be husband and wife. On a Saturday afternoon, Martin was walking around the neighborhood with his sister Jane. Martin saw a girl across the street and said, "It's my niece." Jane said, "Well, but that's not my niece. How is it possible?" The girl is Jane's daughter. Meet Niles. He has as many sisters as he has brothers. This is one of his sisters, Sophie. She has twice as many brothers as she has sisters. How many girls and boys are there in the family? There are 4 boys and 3 girls, so each boy has 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and each girl has 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Let's play Would You Rather?
Yeah.
Beware, you'll have to make really hard choices in this game. So here's the first question. Would you rather lose your hearing or your voice? Make your choice. So if you decided to lose your hearing, you prefer giving over receiving. If you chose to lose your voice, it means that you live in harmony with yourself. Here's your next choice, being the only person on Earth or having others constantly pick on you. If you chose the first option, you're most likely afraid of pain. If you pick the second option, you're confident and have your life together. And here's the last one. You're on the highest floor of a very tall skyscraper. Would you rather drop a phone or a kitten? If you chose the kitten, I'm not proud of you. But the good news, the kitten was saved by another person. If you chose a phone, good job. They are easier to replace and won't cuddle with you on a bad day anyways. To answer this question, you need to think outside the box, so beware. A man was pushing his car. He stopped when he reached a hotel, and he knew immediately that he had gone bankrupt. What's going on here? The man pushing the car is playing Monopoly. His game piece is a car. He has just reached someone else's hotel, and he can't afford to pay for it. There's a surgeon working in a hospital who has a brother who is a lawyer. What is the relation of the surgeon to the brother who is a lawyer, if brother isn't the correct answer? The surgeon is the lawyer's sister. Esme was having a walk in the forest, but this time she didn't get lost. Here it was, her way home. But she chose to take a different route, the route to a witch's house. She had a riddle for the witch. Esme took a small magic stone, put it in an empty glass bottle, and closed it with a cork. How can the witch take the stone out without taking the cork out or smashing the bottle? The witch should push the cork into the bottle and then take the stone out. Well, since Esme paid her a visit, the witch had a riddle for Esme too. She took 6 glasses and placed them in a row. The first 3 glasses were full. There were potions in them. The other 3 glasses were empty. Esme could touch and move just 1 glass at a time. How should she arrange the glasses so that no full glass stands next to another full one and no empty glass stands to another empty one, using the least number of moves? Esme will only need 1 move. She needs to pick up the second glass, pour the potion into the 5th one, and put it back in its place. It was Lizzie's birthday. After school, right before she was about to head home, she checked her locker and found a strange note there. Unfortunately, the note didn't make any sense, and she couldn't understand it. Can you help her figure it out? The sentences in the note are just reversed. Lizzie should read the note backward, and here's what she'll get. Dear Lizzie, happy birthday! We have a surprise for you. Meet us by the fountain as soon as you figure out this note. Sounds exciting. Hopefully figuring it out didn't take her too long. Okay, great job. Now it's time for good old matchstick riddles. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here's the first one. This is the figure you need to work with. Your task is to remove 8 matches to leave just 2 squares that don't touch. Here's how you should do it. Did you get it right? Okay, now, see this pattern? At the moment, it points up by moving just 3 matchsticks. Make it point to the bottom. I'll give you some time, and you can also pause the video. Okay, here's the solution. How long did it take you to figure it out? Okay, no matches this time, but there are figures. Can you figure out the ratio of the small red triangle to the big white one? It's easier than it seems. Think outside the box. To figure it out, you just need to rotate the red triangle like this. Now you can see that 3 more triangles of the same side can fit in. So, 4 in total. So, the ratio is 1 to 4. Let's check how attentive you are. I'll show you an apartment, and your task is to figure out the profession of the person who lives there.
Yeah.
You think it's easy? Well, let's see how well you can do. Keep your eyes wide open. Here's the first apartment. Who do you think lives there? See those ballet shoes? It must be a ballerina's house. Okay, well done. Here's the next house. Do you think you can figure this one out? Pay attention to the wall. There's a whole board with photos, cut out newspaper articles, and so on. I think it's a detective's house. Here's the next one. I think this one is harder, but we'll see what you have to say. What's your call? There are some paper models of buildings on the desk, so my bet is that an architect lives here. What was your guess? I hope you like it because I have another house for you. Pay attention to details and try to figure this one out too. What is your best guess? Look, there's a top hat, a rabbit in a cage, a magic wand, and other weird objects here. It seems like this apartment belongs to a magician. Okay, here's the last house for today. Keep your eyes wide open. Do you see anything that could give you a hint? Yes, take a look out the window. There's a cow and a horse and a couple of pigs in the field nearby. I believe this person is a farmer living on a farm. Did you get it right? 4 people are in an escape room, and this is their last task. They are placed this way. 3 people are one behind another. The first person doesn't see anyone. The second can only see the first person, and the third person can see both of them. The fourth person stands behind the wall. They can't see anyone, and no one can see them. These people know that each of them is wearing a hat and that there are 2 white hats and 2 black hats. They will win if one of them calls out the color of their own hat, but they can't communicate in any way. After a minute, one of them figures it out correctly. Who? Person D sees a white hat and a black hat, so she can't be so sure about the color of her own hat, so she doesn't say anything. Person C realizes that it must be because her and B's hats are of different colors. So, seeing that B is wearing a white hat, she realizes that she must be wearing a black one and shouts, "Black!"